Hi everybody, welcome to the channel Lightworkers Together. This is Val. I hope you all are doing well. I have taken a protracted break, absence from the channel. There's been a lot going on in my life, and from things I've been seeing from a lot of other people, there's a lot going on for everybody right now. I know personally, globally, everything in people's community, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense, and we have a lot going on this month. We have 2 moons. I did end up taking the opportunity. I got to finish the book that I was writing. I have some editing still to do on it, but I'll be sharing some of that content with you all later. The main reason why I wanted to come on the channel real quick was kind of 2 things. One was to talk about when we go through our healing process, when you awaken and then you start your healing journey and you go through your healing journey, if you are a person who is empathic, or you are a person who is naturally given to more a loving energy, I guess is what I want to say. Sorry guys, I didn't plan this. This is just kind of off the cuff, but there was a conversation I was having with my daughter, and then I was meditating, and this came up this morning, and it's kind of about Venus is in retrograde right now, right? Until sometime in September. And when Venus is in retrograde, that is a really good time to review, things in your life, changes, whether they have to do with the love in your life, family members, partners, your spouses, friends, jobs, even, like it even covers that. So things from the past, right, from your previous life, and things that as you awaken and as you heal things are pulled out of your life, right, and then new things come in. And sometimes there are things we have to push out and let go. And one thing when I was doing my review, and it's good to, we always talk about try not to, once you heal and release something, try not to come back to it, or don't, don't get bogged down in that energy again. So with this Venus retrograde, it's not about being pulled back into the past and that energy. It's more about reviewing kind of what are the lessons that you took away from it that you can use to help move you forward. Sorry guys, I'm in the car with the air conditioning on because it's really, really hot. And I know it's hot all around, so I hope y'all are staying cool. But anyway, one of the things that came up for me in meditation, and might be the same case for some of you, or if not, or if it's something that you're just going through, this might be helpful to you, is if you are of a very sensitive nature, and many of us are, a lot of folks are coming from a place where they were overgivers, they were very sensitive, they were in positions where they were giving, right? Not taking, and they were with maybe people who were takers. And sometimes it kind of happens that way. It's very imbalanced, it's very bad. And a lot of it has to do with what we allow. Because when we have things that are not healed within us, we allow all kinds of behaviors. And this is one of the things when I was doing kind of my review back during my meditation, was I kind of went over things, and something that became very apparent, and really mainly because God, the universe brought this like sharply into my life, like within the last just couple of weeks with a family member. My family is very different from me, or I'm very different from them. I'm like the weird little black sheep. I am the positive, optimistic person who believes all things are possible and love wins. And they are more the doom and gloom scenario, except for my daughter, who's turning the page on her pessimism, I'm happy to say. But anyway, so I did have a situation with one of my family members that happened, and this was actually a few weeks ago, and I knew that it was a test. by the way that it happened. It was a test. God was like, okay, you're saying, you've healed all this stuff. You're good to go. Like, you're ready to step forward into new friendships, new all this stuff. You're not going to be in a position where someone can abuse you, hurt you in any way, take advantage of you, etc., because you've healed yourself. You love yourself. And that's kind of where we get, right? When we get to that good place where we're like, I love myself, I respect myself, I respect everyone else, and I expect the same treatment, and I'm not going to tolerate it. The universe will test you to make sure you really are there, that you can do it before you're given something that is meant for you. And that makes total sense. It really does, because you really, if you are in a place where you have healed things, but you cannot, and I'm calling it this, but whatever, you can't stand up for yourself. That's what it kind of boils down to. And it's not for a lack of courage or anything like that. It's more coming from a place of, when we love, some of us, when we love so intensely and so deeply, and we give of ourselves so much, that it is very difficult for us to get to a place where we can push back or say no. And that is part of the healing process, is to learn to love yourself as much as you love everyone else, at the very least, if not more, right? So I got tested. I got tested big time. And I'm happy to say I passed that test. I handled it in a loving way, and yet I was very to the point, right? To the point. I was like, I'm standing up for this. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to, treat me this way. I'm not going to tolerate it. It doesn't matter. You're my family member. I love you, but I'm not putting up with it. And this family member, I'm not going to name who it was just kind of shocked. Because usually in the olden days, I always was like, okay, your family is your family. It's just what it is. You love your family. You got to put up with it. Sometimes some of them are, they're fine most of the time. But, this is a family member who gets very easily triggered, right? He can have very bad temper, and he gets very easily triggered. And unfortunately, he is the kind of individual who, if something bad happens to him, like at work or something else, he will just take it out on someone else. And in the olden days, I would have just went to a corner and basically cried and been like, well, I have to put up with this because this is my family member and I love them. No, not anymore. So I can't repeat what I said on here, guys. But I actually said it from a place of love. So anyway, weeks pass, and I was like, okay, I said my piece. I stood in my authenticity, my truth. I'm standing up for myself. I love myself. I let him know plain and simple, I will not be disrespected, yada, yada, yada. So, and another incident happened. We crossed paths. He apparently, and I didn't know this, something happened with him at work, but literally, I just ran into him face to face, and it was like a full-on attack, verbal, guys, not physical, verbal attack. And it was pretty vicious. It was vicious, and it was just cruel, and it was mean. And, from any kind of a normal standpoint, you're just like, there's no reason for this. There's a part of me that stands there when these things happen, and I'm like, this half of me sees this unhealed individual, and I have nothing but compassion for them. This side of me, which is the healed side who now stands up for herself, is like, I'm standing up and I'm not having it. So I kind of am in this, if something happens with someone, and I told the same thing to my father, we were talking about the incident, and I was like, look, you're my family, I love you, and this other family member, I love them. But it doesn't change the fact that you cannot abuse somebody just because you're having a bad day or somebody said something mean to you or whatever. You can't use them for your whipping boy, basically, just because they're a more gentle, loving person. At no point is that ever okay. And I'm at a place where I'm like, I just won't take any sort of abuse of any kind anymore. I just won't, I love myself enough that I'm standing up for myself. And so I did. I stood up for myself, and it's now a matter of consequence. So when I'm looking at people and even jobs and places and stuff now, it's kind of like, okay, if there is an initial incident, I speak my piece, I stand up for myself, and I communicate. You're not going to disrespect me, I'm not going to tolerate it, blah, 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 blah. I forgive you, and you forgive, just like I forgave him again for this time. But the second time somebody does it, if someone feels like, okay, this incident happened, but it's cool, because a lot of times, even though we have gone through a lot of changes and we are a different being now, the people around us don't see those changes, right? Because they've all happened on the inside. So I'm like, what he needs from me now are consequences. He needs to understand, because if I just stand up for myself again, say my piece and everything, and forgive him, he'll just be like, well, I can just keep doing this anytime I want. And she's going to tolerate it, right? So now there's consequences. And it's really kind of sad in a way, because we used to hang out and do stuff together, you know what I mean? We'd like to go to like parks, or if they'd have events or whatever, we would love to go to events and things together. This is a family member who, when he is on an even keel, he's a nice person to be around and hang out. But I cannot give my time and energy to someone who feels like it's okay to abuse me. I just will not do it. And so I guess my message that I want to give to everybody is, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and give consequences. So like I said, the second time it happened, I won't go anywhere with him now. And he's seeing it. He was bringing up some places. He was just like 2-3 days later, he was back to, everything's all back to normal. It's good. Hey, you want to go to this thing or that? And I was like, no, thank you. Oh, do you want to go get some Chinese food or something? No, but thank you. In the nicest way possible. And not in a way that is like a grudge holding way, because I'm the least of grudge. I've never held a grudge against anyone in my entire life. I am one of those people who I forgive you pretty much the minute you do something, because that's where my heart is. But I'm also healed enough and love myself enough and respect myself enough that I don't tolerate that now from anyone. So now, on top of the communication and the understanding, he now has actual consequences. You don't get to spend time with me, and that's not mean. And I'm being kind. Each time I'm like, thank you for the invite. No, thank you though. So it's kind of like, and if he gets to a point where he will come to me and say, what's up? You're not hanging out with me anymore or whatever. I'm going to say, yeah. And I'm pretty sure you should know why. I respect myself and I love myself. And you were told initially what the situation is. And so I'm not going to give you any extra opportunities. There'll be times we cross paths and talk, sure, yeah. But I'm not going to give you opportunities to abuse me. Sorry. Just not happening. If you want to spend time with me now, you're going to have to earn it by showing respect. So I wanted to come on and just talk about that and give you my real life example here, which is something I was reviewing, and I was actually very proud of myself that I was able to do this, that I was able to stand up, and that I was able to say, the first time something happens, especially with a family member or someone you love, whoever it is, it can be your best friend or whatever, you can communicate that to them and then be like, okay, this is basically like the warning shot. This is who I am now. Whatever went on in the past, that's not a thing anymore. This is who I am now, and I command respect. I give you respect. I don't abuse you in any way, and you will treat me the same way, or we don't need to hang out. So that's kind of what I wanted to say, and I was very proud of myself. And so I was basically like, God, universe, you know what? I have proven to myself, which is really all you have to do. When you're being tested, it's you. It's like the universe wants you to see that you are ready. So it's like, then I come to a point where like, you know what? I am actually ready. I'm pretty good. Like, I know I have my boundaries firmly in place. I can enforce them, which is the tough part. So like when we first make those boundaries, a lot of times people will just, and I had another situation with somebody else, and they were just, having a field day, running over my boundary like it wasn't even there, y'all. And then I had to just, that was it. I was like, okay, I'm giving you fair warning. I'm not cool with this. And if you keep trying to do it, that's it. You're blocked. And so I had to do that. And this has really been happening to me. And it's so funny because I had no idea, before I was awakened and healed, that so many people just thought it was okay to just treat me in whatever way they wanted. And I was cool with it, I guess, because I didn't value myself enough to expect anything better, right? And when you tolerate bad behavior, it kind of generates more of that, more of the same. It's like that quote from, I think it was from Eleanor Roosevelt, where she said, no one can treat you badly or disrespect you or whatever without your permission. And that's kind of it. Like, someone can do it initially if they're coming like an attack thing out of the blue at you, but then you stomp it and you cut it out. You stand up for yourself. So it's a twofold thing with the stand up that I wanted to talk about today real quick. So just thank you all so much for being here and tuning in. I've been gone a long time, I know. I don't know if there'll be anybody left to watch, but I felt deeply like putting this out for anybody who might be afraid to enforce those, to first of all, to put your boundaries in place, which is to really just say, like, what are your minimum requirements? What are your standards? What are the things that matter to you? It's kind of the treat me the way I'm treating you. I'm treating you with love and respect and kindness and compassion. You do the same thing and we're all good, right? That kind of thing. And don't be afraid, like, even if it's a family member, someone, and this is someone I'm telling you I'm close to, and this is someone who is known for just quite a temper. But it's like, when I'm standing in my truth and stuff, I just don't have any fear of any of that. I'm just like, this is it, dude. You just ended spending any time with me for a really long time. I don't know what would change it. Your behavior would have to really, but sometimes God does that too. You know what I mean? So God could even be putting this circumstance in my life, one, to show me, yes, I'm ready, I've done my work, and two, to maybe help this family member of mine to kind of come around to themselves, right? Because when you are acting from the place, it's like I can see it in him. He has a lot of things that are unhealed, and he's in a place mentally and emotionally where you cannot broach that with him. I've tried it, and it just doesn't go well. So sometimes you have to respect wherever a person is in their life, whatever place they're at, right? You have to respect that, but you also have to respect and love yourself, right? And stand up for yourself. So my second thing about standing up, sorry, I got sidetracked for a minute, is in this world with everything that is going on, I know there is a bombardment of stuff, and it's kind of coming from every angle, right? I have just been like really manifesting and praying about truths coming out, like things going on in our general world that have been hidden from us, and they're important, they matter. There's so much going on, guys. It's coming out. So many things, lies about things, with free energy and the universe and ETs and this child trafficking horrors and things going on. But truths and people coming out, whistleblowers and a lot of people. Now, some of it is mixed up in agendas and things. So you have to, with every piece of information and stuff that comes out, it's what I always do. I will listen to it, whatever it is, or read it or whatever, and then I will test it with myself. Does this actually resonate with me? Kind of like my mama used to say when she was alive, take it with a grain of salt. And that's what I do with everything. Because my daughter, she's so funny. She was like, Mama, you used to just want to believe everything and just think everybody's wonderful. So I have gotten much better at discernment, which is, it comes along with that whole growing and healing process, is we do get discernment on things that, you start feeling those energies out, and you can tell what is not true and not authentic, right? Like, even if someone's saying something to you, start reading their energy, and a lot of times you can be like, the energy coming from them does not match what's coming out of their mouth. You know what I mean? And you can do your research. This is what I highly encourage everybody. Do your research on everything, guys. You know, double, triple, quadruple check it, and then check it with yourself. Because that's what matters at the end of the day. It's what you believe. Okay? What is important to you. But anyway, in this world where we are now, there's just a ton of stuff coming out, and some of it has to do with agendas of things, and some of it is like actual truths that are finally bubbling and coming out. You know, don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. That's me. I keep saying I'm walking my path of love and peace and unity. I'm standing up for that. I'm standing up for everybody. I'm not giving up on myself, and I'm not giving up on you. I'm not giving up on anybody else. Let's don't give up on each other. Let's just keep going. I know it's really, really hard. We're into some hard times right now, but hang in there and keep going and stay in that beautiful, loving energy, because it actually does make a difference. It really, really, truly makes a difference. So that's all I wanted to say. Don't be afraid to love yourself. It matters. It changes things. For every one person that wakes up and comes to that place of self-love and self-care and stands in that place of love and respect, and then you have it for everyone else and you stand up for yourself, you are then more empowered and better able to stand up for those who cannot do it for themselves right now. And then we can stand together, all of us, in that beautiful energy and make the difference. You know, a lot of times they talk about hitting this like a certain percentage or critical mass or something. So I am a firm believer in when there are enough people who are awakened and who are operating from a place of unconditional love, it is going to be shifting things more and more. And I do feel like we are hitting a very high number, more than anyone has any idea. Because when I'm meditating and I'm reaching out that energy, I feel a ton of others that I am connecting to. So I think it's way more than anyone would have us know. But all of these truths and things that are coming out now and things that are being revealed, right? It's all part of kind of a big turning, this big turning that is happening, this big change for the world and for all of us individually. And we are in this Lionsgate portal right now. The big date is 8/8, August 8th. We have 2 moons. And I had this crazy vision dream, and this was like almost a year ago now, about I was standing somewhere and I was holding, and I didn't know what they were at the time. I said, it looks like 2 blue moons. I was holding 2 blue moons in my hands. And then when we got to this month and they were talking about the blue moon, I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. And there are 2 moons this month. So it makes me feel like this month of August is going to be significant for a lot of things. Maybe a lot of truths coming out, maybe a lot of people awakening, right? A very large number of people awakening, and people being able to stand up for themselves and move forward. So I just wanted to encourage everybody to know that you are loved. Please don't give up on yourself, okay? Please don't. Keep going forward. You can do this. Stand up for yourself. Set those boundaries. Be safe always. Listen to your intuition when you're in any given situation, right? Which is what I do. If there's something going on, and sometimes communicating something at that time is not safe. It's not safe to do it. And what you have to do then is remove yourself from it, and then you can communicate in a way that's safe. Even if it's like you got to communicate it via text message or phone or something or whatever, right? You communicate it in a way that's safe. You remove yourself. So just remember to stay safe at all times. Follow your intuition, follow your heart, and do what is for your highest good. Okay? So I'm sending everyone love, peace, and unity. Please stay safe, stay well, and I'll talk to you all again soon.